Hey Taurus, your July tarot reading is ready. I'm Eleanor and welcome to Pink Pearl Tarot. Your main theme for July is the parrot wax cap mushroom and it says isolation. And then your relationship affirmator is support. It says, I look at the vast network of support in my life and I'm reminded of what a superpower it gives me. At any moment, I can call on an army of top-notch people who want the best for me, which means I'm basically invincible. Take that, loneliness. Run for the hills, boredom. I'm sorry. What did you say to me, pervasive, all-consuming anxiety? Damn right you didn't. Okay, I love the head deck. That's so cute. All right, Taurus. So what this means about July is that it's all about getting down to the nitty-gritty of identifying what your needs are so that you can get them met more accurately and directly. Like sometimes we know we want something, but drilling down into the why we want it and then figuring out what needs that's supposed to fulfill, we can sometimes avoid wasting time and resources if we can find a better, more targeted option. And another thing it can help with is learning the most effective way to ask for support, which is to ask for concrete or quantifiable acts of service, reassurance, or whatever it is, versus I want you to make me feel a certain way, or I want you to stop making me feel a certain way, or I need you to be more or do more. It reminds me of the line in what was it? Parks and Rec. Make your face better. What? This isolation card, it isn't about being alone or isolated. It's more about isolation of factors for the sake of clarity, cutting out the redundant, that sort of isolation. But there's also a message here about getting to the bare bones of what you need versus the nice to haves. And in discovering what that baseline is, finding out that you're more self-sufficient than you originally thought. So this could be a time of focusing on the necessities or a little bit of protectionism. So it's very much like the Four of Swords, where you might benefit from some degree of retreat. And remember that this is just a monthly reading. So this isn't saying that it's the best way to live life for a social species, just that at this time there is something to be gained or pitfalls to avoid with this type of stance. So one thing might be the ability to differentiate between actually healthy or healing habits from the coping mechanisms. And you do that by stepping back and going within. So for something that you could reduce or remove for the sake of simplification or for clarity, you have the Knight of Swords. Okay, so I'd hold it up, but it's just kind of, it's so small. Nothing really to see anyways. The things to cut out here could be like snap judgments. Everything you think you know about yourself that has never been interrogated or studied, or everything that's just assumed. Severe self-judgment. So what this boils down to, since it is a court card, it'll either be someone in your environment or in the media, an external voice that's feeding you unhelpful opinions or shallow information, or it'll be that voice within that's not always the nicest to you or the most helpful. That part of you that needs to intellectualize everything and then judges your emotions rather than allowing them a seat at the table to communicate. It's that part of you that lacks patience and compassion and has to be right, because what that voice will do is maintain the status quo and not be open to insights from your intuition or your feelings. Now, but this could also represent certain severe or blustery media personalities or harshly opinionated coworkers, that sort of thing. So you might want to limit your contact or exposure there. So for where you will see the most change, you have the Page of Cups reversed. Sorry, I'm a little OCD about the placement. So there's the potential to reclaim something that you'd lost from childhood, a sense of wonder, a sense of self-trust, or a belief in the unseen. And this can also be a month that sheds light on the ways that you've maybe even used performative spirituality as an escape. There's no judgment on that because it is a highly monetized sphere, and sometimes it is more fun to buy the accoutrement than to do the work. Guilty as charged, okay, for real. You could potentially discover the difference between alone and lonely. Now, pages, they can be messengers, so you might be developing a new mechanism for filtering incoming communication. And there is definitely a deeper insight possible and being able to see beyond the surface and not taking things at face value anymore. Finally, some of you might be redrawing boundaries to protect yourself from the emotional immaturity of others. So for your biggest obstacle, you have the Five of Cups. So this is talking about where you put your focus. Putting your focus on loss, lack, failure, unmet expectations, disappointment, that's the obstacle. And then the way around it is to focus on the question of, okay, but what now? What am I working with as I move forward? And it can also indicate out of balance or disproportionate pessimism. See, like while the owl is grieving over her broken eggs here, there's two perfectly good eggs that need her attention. It's like you might want to tend to those or lose them all. That's not to say not to grieve if you need to grieve or to grieve your way, but the message coming through for July is that there are things that are still very much alive and present that are going to need your attention. So for the best thing about this month, you have the sun. Well, that is very meta and on the nose, because that is like the best card in the deck. So there is potential for so much joy here, childlike play, vacation, getting outside, everything you would associate with the summertime. And this also indicates that clarity I was talking about earlier and the isolating of factors by cutting something out, that could metaphorically refer to like removing the clouds, the storm clouds, so that the light can be shed on what you need to know. But most importantly, this card it means fun at the end of the day. So like, remember when we were kids, how the cartoons and the fast food restaurants, they were so colorful and boisterous and optimistic feeling. It's that bounce house like feeling. It's so buoyant. So the other thing about this isolation energy is it clears the way for you to shine your own light rather than being a reflective surface for other people's projections. And you achieve that by unveiling yourself, basically. Sorry, someone in my neighborhood's got a squeaky belt on their car. So for your influence and impact on others, you have the Six of Wands. Awesome. This is one of the, actually, a really good card to get in this position. This makes perfect sense after that Sun card, because people are seeing you as kind of a lucky charm, and they want to be around your energy and they want to share in your success. Your leadership abilities are being highlighted this month for sure. Now this could go either way, but some of you might be receiving recognition or praise, and others of you are sharing credit where credit is due and recognizing others, which at the end of the day, that makes you look pretty good as well, because people love people who see them, right? So like, those are our favorite people who reflect back to us what we want them to. Those that know you are especially proud to know you at this time. You are a shining example right now of how others want to be. It's kind of like what Johnny says when he brings Baby up to the stage with him at the end of Dirty Dancing. Anyway, however this energy manifests for you, just know that it is hard won and it's well deserved. So congratulations there. So for what opportunities you should be looking for, you have the Four of Wands reversed. It's kind of unusual. It's interesting. I like it. The first thing I would say here is to break from the expected. You have a chance to turn something on its ear. Something in the status quo that's just a given or expected that you would or should do because it's what people do. It's a chance to go against the grain. Now, for others of you, this could also indicate upending the way you approach conflict with your loved ones. Also with this, look for opportunities to root out blockages to your joy and your happiness, because it's all around you. Like, what little irritants block you from enjoying the little things, or that blemish the events that you want to remember as perfect? So you have a lot to celebrate with that Sun and the Six of Wands. So what could be in the way of accepting so much good and success? Is it that it's different or counterculture or non-traditional? It's not like what other people have or they do. It's not like the picture that you were told it should look like when you were little. But now a whole other thing that this could mean is it's opportunities to shore up where you feel instability, or to illuminate something that you have taken for granted and gotten too comfortable expecting will always be there. I feel like it's important that that be heard. So for where you will find the most support, you have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Also an interesting way to communicate this. My first thought with this is being in the now. And what is surrounding you and available to you now even though it might not always be there. Like I was just saying, something doesn't need to commit to supporting you forever in order for you to enjoy its support at this time. So it's like, okay, the old Mario game, right? Those little moving bars that transport Mario across the screen, sometimes they fall off once he's delivered to the platform. And if he doesn't jump off onto the platform, he'll fall down with it, right? But he can trust them in that moment as they're moving. So it says grab onto what you can find that's available now rather than drowning while waiting for a permanent solution. So for your self-care directive, you have the world, and I'm going to give her maybe a little something to wear because you never know with YouTube. All right, now she's appropriate. So take a holistic approach, first of all. With that Five of Cups as a potential obstacle, you might take care of yourself by allowing closure on something. And with that Six of Wands, allowing yourself to take credit and revel in your success. Life is constant change, right? That wheel is going to keep turning. There will be ups and downs. And you don't do yourself any service or favors to not enjoy the view from the top when you're on top. Okay, and this can also, like, okay, but that doesn't mean to not prepare for potential. This is kind of like that Four of Wands that came up talking about where have you gotten too comfortable. That doesn't mean to be oblivious, right? But anyway, I hope that made sense. This can also indicate travel or achievement, goals. So this could mean like giving yourself little achievable goals or little getaways to keep yourself motivated. And like little finishing lines, little wins. And it also talks about being in tune with what phase of a cycle you're in and honoring that instead of trying to go against it or operate in a different one that's not the reality. For example, like trying to start something new on the full moon. I'm pretty sure that's a new moon thing. I don't know that much about it, but that's what I believe. Or it's like honoring your rhythms when you make plans. If you know you feel like crap in the morning, make dinner plans. Or certain times of the month, you don't want to be around people. That's not when to have a party. But it's also life phases. What is appropriate to change about your self-care routine as you age? What do you need now than more that you needed 10 years ago? And also look to your own experience and apply the lessons that you've learned trying to take care of yourself up until now and make adjustments, which might sound counterintuitive because I was just talking about changing with time, but that doesn't mean that your body isn't your own and that you know it and that it has unique needs that are specific to you, and you can still use that experience and what you know about yourself. Finally, make sure you're rewarding yourself for your accomplishments. Otherwise, seriously, what's the point? You will be demotivated if you do not celebrate your wins. So that's what I have for you, Taurus. Much love, and I'll talk to you next month. Thank you.